Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Yin practice. For props for today, a hard block and a soft block will likely come in handy, and then anything else you like to practice with. When you're ready, I'll invite you to get started on the back, and we'll start off in legs up pose. I'm going to talk through doing this in the middle of the room, but if you'd rather take legs up the wall, then you're welcome to do that as well. For legs up, I would suggest having a soft block nearby. You can come to lying down on the back. And then you can straight away send the legs up towards the ceiling and see how that feels. And if it feels really effortful to hold the legs up in this shape, then you can use your soft block to angle the pelvis a little differently, helping to make the shape a little more passive. So find a comfortable spot for it, and you might need to shift it up or down a little bit. And you might even need something a little plumper, so maybe you want to use a pillow or a bolster or something like that. Generally stacking the ankles somewhere above the hips, and then make sure that the rest of the legs feel comfortable, so you can have a generous bend to the knee or a little less. You could be resting with the legs on the chest like this, almost like child's pose, but on the back. And then see how this feels. If you like to take the arms up towards the ceiling, then go for it. Otherwise, you might take the arms to the floor, maybe overhead or by your sides. You can also have the hands somewhere on the body. And straight away, if the shape isn't working, you're welcome to find any other comfortable symmetrical shape to start in. And if the body feels a little fidgety here, if you need some movement before you find your stillness, then go for it. And when you do feel ready, start to quiet down the body, inviting the mind to quiet down as well. And perhaps bringing your attention to that gentle flow of the breath. And before we move on from here, see if you'd benefit from a little more time in this shape, and you're welcome to stay. Otherwise, you might start to bend the knees into the chest. You might wrap the arms around the shins, give yourself a gentle squeeze here. For the next shape, we'll set up Happy Baby, so you're welcome to keep the soft block, or you can remove it any time, reaching between the legs to catch hold of the feet, the ankles, the shins. And again, you might need a little rock side to side or some other movement to help you set up. Make sure it feels like a pain-free expression. So if there is pressure in the low back, then you might think about angling the feet a little differently. You could be holding the knees instead. And when you're ready, you come to find your stillness here. As you feel ready, you can gently release the feet, this time letting them lower all the way down to the floor. You can lift the hips just enough to slide your soft block out of the way, lowering the pelvis, taking the feet wide. You might pause with the knees in together, or if you like straight away, you can find a windshield wiper. When you're ready, you can bring the legs back up to center and look around for your heart block this time. And setting the feet up roughly underneath the knees, and then lift the pelvis and slide your heart block underneath. And setting up for a restorative back bend here. If you need more height, you can use both your props or something else. And if this feels good with the knees bent, then you can stay right here. Otherwise, think about extending the legs one at a time. And take your time to find a comfortable version of the shape. And if there is pinching, or if you're feeling like the block is kind of digging into the spine, you might shift it down a little bit. Once you find your shape, let it be as passive as you can make it, so you can let the feet kind of flop out if they want. The arms can be wherever they feel the most comfortable. Find a sense of steadiness here. And only when you feel ready to, you can slowly think about walking the feet back in, lifting the pelvis just enough to slide your heart block out of the way, and then lowering back down. You can re-extend the legs long down the mat. Scoot the hip to the right edge of the mat, and then you can take your feet towards the bottom left, setting up for your bananasana, your banana pose. You can reach the arms up and then take them over towards the left as well, so making a crescent moon shape with the body. Notice sometimes the right hip starts to lift up and you might lose the connection with that stretch through the right hand side. So see if you can keep it nice and grounded. If for any reason having the arms extended doesn't work, you could think about bending the elbows as well. Maybe turning the head a little differently if something else would feel more comfortable for the neck. And also the option to cross the right ankle and the right wrist over the left, maybe deepening the stretch a little bit. you're ready, you can release the arms and then uncross and release the legs, scooting the hips back to midline. If you need anything before the second side, then go for it. And then when you're ready, you can take your hips to the left side, your feet, your arms to the right side. And the side may need a slightly different expression, so listen to your body if you need to turn the head slightly differently or have a slightly different shape for the arms or for the legs. And keeping that left side of the pelvis nice and grounded here. Notice any sensations through the left side of the body. Breathe here. Gently release the arms and the legs. Let everything come back to midline. And once again, bending the knees. And you might pause here with the knees together or give yourself a gentle windshield wiper side to side. And when you're ready, you can bring the legs back to center. Feet roughly underneath the knees. We'll lift the left leg and cross the left ankle just above the right knee. Setting up for a thread the knee pose, so straight away check in with that left knee. If it feels like it needs a little more stability, you might flex that left foot a little bit. And if this feels like plenty of a stretch around the pelvis, then you can stay, or you could reach through, maybe catching hold of that right hamstring, maybe the right shin or knee. And just like with the other shapes, if a little movement, maybe side to side or some circles would help you settle into the shape, then go for it. Gently releasing that right leg back down to the floor. And then keeping the cross for now, you can reach through, catch hold of the pinky toe edge of the left foot, and we'll come and find a half happy baby shape. If for any reason holding the foot doesn't work, then the same options are there. You could be holding the knee instead, you could be holding the ankle or something else. Sometimes winging out the right knee, almost like a counterweight, can help here as well. And you might play around with a few circles for the left hip. Another option would be to extend that right leg straight down the mat, and this will add a different stretch for the hip flexor. And taking your time to set up your version of the shape, and then when you're ready, come and find your stillness. And gently think about releasing the left leg and start to extend both legs down the mat. And pause in stillness for a couple of breaths. You might take a scan through the left side and through the right. Notice where things feel a little more different. And only when you feel ready to, you can slowly start to rebend the knees, walking the feet back in, and setting the feet up roughly underneath the knees. And this time we'll lift the right leg, crossing the right ankle above the left knee. And check in here. Maybe the side needs something a little different. Straight away, maybe a little movement, or you can go for the reach through, catching the left hamstring or the left shin. Take your time to set up. Make sure you find and settle into a pain-free expression. So if you are feeling pinching in the hip, the hamstring, the low back, knee, anywhere else, listen to your body and make any modifications you need. Keeping the cross for now. Gently release the left foot back down to the floor. And then we'll set up for that half happy baby on the second side so you can catch the right foot wherever feels best. Maybe starting by winging out the left knee, a little movement here, anything else you need. And the option is there if you want to extend the left leg long down the mat. Maybe the left arm out to the left as a counterweight so you're not rolling over to the right. And take your time to find your shape here. As you're ready, gently start to release, letting the right foot return to the floor. You can extend both legs long down the mat and pause in stillness for a few breaths. Check in here. When you feel ready to move again, we'll set up for the next shape. So if you're using a hard block today, you can take it over to the right hand side. We're going to set up for a twist so you can bend the left knee here. And I'm going to talk through a one-legged twist, but if you prefer a two-knee twist, then go for that. And if you're coming with me with the left knee bent, scoot the hips over towards the left a few inches, and then you can start to guide the left knee across the body, and maybe it'll come to land on your prop. You can also tuck the toes underneath the right leg if that helps keep the leg steady. And check in if the head needs a soft block underneath or maybe something for the left shoulder. You could think about extending the left arm towards the left or to the floor overhead, see which stretch feels better. Gently release the left leg. Let the hips come back to center. And you can unravel the legs any way you like. Give yourself a little movement here if you need, and then when you're ready, we'll set up for the second side. So if the prop was helpful, you can take it over to the left now. If you're coming with me, extend the left leg, scoot the hips to the right, and then guide that right knee across the body to land on the prop, maybe tucking the right toes under the left leg as well. And then if your shape needs to be a little different from the first side, that's okay. Look for something that feels similar in the body. Let's see where you want to place that right arm. Just know if it starts to feel a little numb or fuzzy, and lower it down until it doesn't. Gently unravel, releasing the right leg, releasing the hips back to midline. And then pause when you arrive. See what would feel good here. Maybe stillness, maybe a windshield wiper, maybe the knees into the chest, and give yourself a rock side to side. When you're ready, we'll set up our last shape, and that's Shavasana. So take your time. You're welcome to find any symmetrical, comfortable pose that you like. I'm going to extend the legs down the mat, keep the arms by the sides for a more traditional Shavasana shape, but see what feels the most restful for you for today. And you can add in any layers that you need if you need to adjust something in your space, like lighting, music, temperature, anything like that, go for it. Getting comfortable and settling yourself in. And find your stillness and your rest. Gently deepen the breath here to reawaken the body. You can reintroduce some movement as you feel ready. It might feel nice to stretch the arms up overhead and give yourself a full body stretch. Maybe a little wiggle for the shoulders, the hips, a little pedaling through the feet. And then you can connect the knees into the chest. Maybe you wrap the arms around the shins. You can bring the forehead to the knees and give yourself a hug and a rock. From here, we'll transition up to a seat. So you can roll down to one side first, maybe pause for a few breaths. Or if you like, you can gently rock and roll up the spine, just mindful of the neck. Eventually making your way up and coming to find any comfortable seated position. You can use any of your props for a little extra support. And then settle the hips in here. Gently lengthen the spine, soften the shrug muscles. Let the hands rest wherever they feel comfortable. And then take a scan through the body here just to notice. And from here, you might connect the hands in front of the heart. Maybe bow the chin in towards the chest. And thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for this week's Yin practice. And my name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and enjoy the rest of your day.